Okay, so once you've calibrated the TrackMan, then it'll come up and ask you who's going to play. So you can choose whoever's going to play out of here. You can also create a player. So if you have somebody new that you brought with you, a friend or family member, you can put in their name like this, friend, and put in their email, and then you can create a new player. So that way it'll keep your data separate from their data. So we'll pick me, then you pick the club you're going to start with, whatever club that might be, the popular 7-iron, and then it brings up this shot analysis screen. So now you're in the shot analysis software and you're going to get all kinds of great feedback on your shots. So a couple of things that we'll go over here to start with. Um, let's start with just the menu across the top, just the main navigation menu, and then we'll put some data in the system and show you kind of the other aspects of it. The first is this home here just will exit you back to the home screen. This library you don't need to worry about. This shortcuts will show you what the keyboard shortcuts are if you want to use keyboard shortcuts. Shot analysis just tells you what you're doing. Here where it has my name, that's where the data is being saved. So if I want to change players, I can click on that, and then I can pick somebody else, uh, like Al, for example, and now we're playing under Al's name. Or I can come back and switch to me, and now we're playing under my name. Where it says club, you can choose a club. So I have 7-iron picked. The reality is the way the TrackMan operates is it doesn't actually care which club you're hitting. It's going to read the data accurately. But what you want to do is keep all your club data together. So what you want to do is be able to say, all my 7-iron, you can look at all your 7-iron data, all your 6-iron data, etc. So you want to tell it as you change clubs which club you're hitting. So if I was going to switch from the 7-iron to the 9-iron, I can click that, and now I'm playing the 9-iron. This tags button is actually a pretty helpful button. So this will let you think of it as creating more options in your golf bag or in your golf swing. So for example, if you have a driver that has adjustments on it, like face angle adjustments, you can do it up a degree, down a degree. You can create a tag. So I could come in here and I could create a tag like driver +1, like this. And now I have this tag for my driver that's +1 degree up. And when I click done, you'll see now it says driver +1 degree. So if I change this to driver, now I have driver +1 degree. So if I hit shots, then it'll be driver +1 degree. And then I could do -1 degree and hit shots with that and then compare the two together. So that's how the tags work. Then you can just clear the tags off by just clicking delete, and then they're done like that. This orange swirl with the Tracy name is Tracy. Tracy is an artificial intelligence coach that TrackMan has created that will help you analyze your swing and give you suggestions on what would be the best thing for you to fix in your golf swing. And I have a separate video on Tracy, so if you want to look at that, just go to the tutorials page and pull up the Tracy video. This target bullseye will take you back to the calibration screen. So if you ever want to reset or recalibrate the TrackMan, you can come in here, recalibrate the TrackMan. If you moved it for any reason or bumped it or something like that, you could come back and recalibrate the TrackMan by pushing the auto target button. Under cameras, there are, if you click this, you'll see that there are 3 cameras that we have hardwired into the system. So you can also add your phone as a separate camera, which I have another video of in the tutorials page if you want to check that out. But you'll see there are these 3. There are a couple of things you can do. You can change the settings of the camera. You can rename it. So like we can actually increase the resolution of this camera so we can have a little bigger picture. And we can name it down the line. That's what it's named here. So we can have it be named down the line. So we can do that and click close. There is a function where you can calibrate the camera, which means that you're essentially going to calibrate the TrackMan camera together with the external camera, and that'll allow you to it'll draw some lines for club path and face angle, and I have a whole video on how to calibrate the cameras too, so you can check that one out separately. This green one just tells you that the TrackMan is connected, and as long as it's green, life is good. And then this settings will actually take you to the global settings for the software. We talked about these in the setup where you can change the altitude or the units and some of those different things. So that is the main navigation across the home screen, across the top bar here. All right, now let's put some data in the system and look at it. Okay, now that we've gone over the top menu bar, let's look at some of the options we have when we hit shots and we can look at data. So I've loaded in some data here, some 9-iron data. Let's actually change it back to the 9-iron here. And so I've loaded in some 9-iron data, and you can see under my name here are all of these different shots. And I can cycle through them and look at every different shot. and look at and in this shot list on the side, there's a couple things to know. So one is I can choose which data point I want to look at here. So it's the default is carry, but if I was working on, say, face angle, and I could put up face angle. So if I change it to face angle, now what will happen is all of my face angle, the data for the face angle for each shot will be here. Now all the other data is still the same, but if I'm working on face angle, I could be looking at face angle. Or if I wanted to work on, for example, ball speed, I could put ball speed in and see how consistent my ball speed is from one shot to the next. This little where the little video camera and the 3 is, that tells me that there are 3 videos associated with that shot. Also, if I right click on it, I can modify that shot or I can delete it. So I could come in and say, well, that's an outlier shot, so I'm going to delete it or ignore it. I can modify it, meaning that I could assign it to a different player. So let's say that I forgot to change players and I wanted to assign it to somebody else. I could also assign it to a different club. So if I was hitting a different club, I could also give it a tag. I could also assign it to a different golf ball if I wanted to. Not much reason to do that because most of us are going to hit nice premium golf balls. So you can modify that shot in here as well. So that's under the shot list here. In this bottom tray here, these are all the data tiles that I have chosen to be in this tray. And so you can see I have kind of a basic set, and we'll go through them and talk about them a little bit. There's another video I have that will talk about each of the data points and what they all do. You can also Google them. There's a million videos you can look about them. But I have club speed, ball speed, smash factor, which is ball speed divided by club head speed. That number is a ratio designed to give me an idea of how am I getting the most ball speed out of my club head speed. And the average PGA Tour Pro smash factor for a 9-iron is right around 1.3, 1.32. But you'll see as I scroll down here, it'll change. Like if I come to this one that's 76 miles an hour, that smash factor is really low. Probably because I either hit it fat or I hit it on the toe or on the heel or something like that on the club. Then I have attack angle, which is how steep am I hitting the ball. I have height, how high did it go? So you can see those will all change. I have the spin, ball spin, spin axis. That is the ball spinning, kind of straight, like end over end like this, or is it a little bit to the right or a little bit to the left? So when it's negative, it's a little bit to the left. When it's positive, it's a little bit to the right. Then I have carry distance, total distance, side distance, which means how far to the right or left of the center of the fairway did it land. And then side total, which is how far did it finish. Then these last 3 points, these next 3 points all have to do with my swing and club. So this tells me that my club path was 3.8 degrees. When it's positive, that means it's inside to out. My face angle was 1.9 degrees open, and then my face to path was 1.9 degrees closed, meaning that my face angle is inside my club path. The TrackMan actually will give you a really good picture of this. I'll show you here. So this is actually the picture, all of this club head data impact, like think about where the ball and the club come together. This is all that data here in a picture. So here's my club path inside to out. Here's my face angle just a little bit open, but you can see because it's not as open as my club path is inside to out, my face to path is actually 1.9 degrees closed, which gives me a little negative spin axis and also has the ball draw a little bit to the left. This one up above is telling me what my attack angle is, what the dynamic loft of the club on that shot was. You'll see it actually changes for each shot as we kind of change the loft of the club as we come through the ball. And then spin and spin loft, which is the angle at which the ball leaves the club, which is somewhere between attack angle and dynamic loft. So that gives me that information. This last number down here in the bottom is low point distance. And so what this means is that the low point of the arc of my swing was 1.6 inches after impact or after the golf ball. When you're hit with a down attack angle, you want the low point to be after. If you were hitting up on the ball, or if you had a shot that was fat, that might be 1.6B, which would be before the ball. All right, this little settings right here tells me, if I click that, these are all the data points that the TrackMan does capture. The orange highlighted ones are just the ones that are in my tray. And there's another video we'll go through and talk about what each of these different data points are. The other things I can do in here, these little arrows will let me fill the screen if I want to fill the screen with my data points. This one with the speaker is kind of an interesting one. If you click this, you can actually pick a data point and the TrackMan will announce that verbally to you through the computer. So it will tell you like what your club head speed was or what your face angle was It's not something you probably need to use inside at private fairway, but I think it's handy if you're using the TrackMan outside on the driving range. All right, so that's this tray on the bottom. So we talked about the shot list, we talked about this tray on the bottom. The other place you can look at data is in this middle screen here. And this middle screen can be a little confusing because it can either be one window like this, or if I click these little arrows up here that compress in up here in the right corner, it'll turn it into two windows. And now you'll see each window has this little, the corner, the arrows now point out. And you can put the same thing in both windows, which is a little bit, confusing because you can kind of get lost. These little four squares here, this button with the four squares, if I click that, that gives me the options for what I want to put in these windows. So I have 7 options. So I have the tracer down the fairway. I also have dispersion. So if I want to look at how close together those shots are, I can look at that. I can also pick shots and look at the data. So like I can come to this one here, this little outlier down here, and I can click it, and guess what? That's that 77.6 one. And then I can look at the data for that and see what went wrong, basically. I could also over here modify it, and I can delete it if I want. And if I delete it, now you can see, oh, I like that so much better, right? So here's the dispersion for those 9 irons. So now you have this, you have these, you can look at dispersion. You can also choose to do it by carry distance or total distance if I want. And then if I click show all, this will actually just show me all the clubs that I had. So in this scenario, I had a couple of different, I was testing a couple of different things. And so now what happens is, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but now I can see all these clubs. Now they were all 9 irons, but they were actually with different golf balls. So I can see what's going on with those different ones. And like I can come in here and look at the differences. So I'll unclick show all. Now I can also do side and top view. So if I want to see it from the side, if I want to see it from the top. A really cool feature is if I come over here to shot list and I click my name like that, it'll actually pick all the shots that I hit. So if you're kind of want to see generally how those all look and kind of what your spray pattern looks like, you can pick all the shots. So kind of a cool, another cool feature. You can also put video in. So for example, I can put the video in. So I can pick the different angles. That one angle's a little off, and then I can come over here and I can pick video, and I can pick a different angle, and I can look at these different angles of the video. So these cameras are a little bit off, but you can put the different angle of the video in those windows. You can also, if I expand this out, you can also, there's drawing tools for the video. So you can click on here and you can have different drawing tools, like if you want to draw lines or parallel lines or angles or circles. So, like a common one sometimes that we see is you draw a line up the shaft of the golf club like this, and then as you scrub through the video like this, you can kind of get a view of what's going on with your golf swing. So if you want to watch your swing. These lines that you see on the video, this is what I was talking about if you calibrate the cameras together. So you just need to watch the calibration video to check that out. But this blue line is my club path, this 3.8 degrees inside to out. This red arrow is my face angle, 1.9 degrees open to my target line. And so, I mean, those are pretty good. I'm happy with those for my swing. So the other thing you can do with the video is you can turn it into a live view. So you can create a live view of the video. And right now, I'm actually doing this video remotely. So no one's there right now, but you can create this live view of the video and you can use it kind of like a mirror, which is kind of a cool feature. So that's video. The other one is you can put the data tiles in this screen. I don't know why you would because they're right down here, but it is an option. You can also pull up a table, which is all of the data that you hit in your session. So what I was doing here is I was actually testing these 2 different golf balls. So I hit 9 shots with each one, and then I was looking at the data for each of those balls. The last one is this impact screen, and the impact screen is actually kind of cool because what I can do is I'll show you there are 3 different options. So there's a little pull down menu here where I can pick impact, which is this chart we talked about, but I could also look at impact location, which will show me where on the club I struck the golf ball. I can also look at swing plane, which will show me where what the angle of my swing direction was, what the angle of my swing plane was, or the angle of the shaft, the low point, and the club path. And then you'll see as I scroll through each of these, those numbers will change a little bit to give me kind of an idea. You can also, again, click on your name, and it will turn it into an average of all the shots that you had selected. So it's kind of a cool feature. So that's the middle section. Some of them also have, particularly this one, has some different options, like I can add grid lines if I want. I can also change the camera view, so if I want to look at it from the top. And I can also change the graphics. So like, do I want a country club view? Do I want to play on PGA National hole number 3? Do I want to play on St. Andrews? Or do I want the desert course? And that's what I have selected. So that just depends on what you want to look at. So that's this middle screen. The other place you can look at data is on the side screens, so the screens that are on the wall in each private fairway. The way you control what goes up on those screens is this little icon right here called secondary screen. So the way you use the secondary screens, you click this icon here, and you'll see that it says maximized right here, which means that it should be displaying whichever one of these is selected. And if it's off like that, then it will display nothing on the side screens. So you want to make sure it's set to maximized. And then you can choose the same options that you have for the middle window here to put on the side screen. And all the pull down menus work too. So if I wanted impact location, I could do that. If I wanted impact, or if I wanted video and I wanted a different angle, I can choose the angle that I want. So that's how you can decide what goes up on the secondary screen. It's the same as this window, it's just on the side, on the wall there. Okay, a couple of other things that you can do. Next to the secondary screen, these little icons, they just let me turn these trays off, these windows off. If I don't want them, I can just turn them on and off. So if I want different views, I can set those up. Over here on the right bottom corner, these different things, these different icons. So normalize, what normalize does is it normalizes the data that the TrackMan reads. And so it'll normalize it for like ball type. So say that you have 3 different golf balls you're hitting with, and one's a Pro V1, and one's a Chrome Soft, and one's a range ball. It'll normalize the data. So even when you hit the range ball, it'll give you the same distance as if you were hitting a premium ball. It's mostly for when you use it outside, but a few features require normalize. And one of those features is this optimizer. So the optimizer, what this does is if I click this, it turns the optimizer on, and it's kind of like the Tracy coach a little bit. But what it does is it'll tell me what my optimal number should be given my swing speed and that club for this shot. So you can see my optimal number should be these blue zones. I'm a little shallow on my attack angle, a little shallow on my spin, and then a little high actually on my ball speed. And then so my actual carry was 120, but my optimal carry for that shot should be 114. And then you can also see here's my the optimal trajectory range for that shot. So not horrible, but if I were to come back and look at some of these other ones, you'll see that they start to vary even more widely. And a lot of times there's one culprit, like my attack angle. So if my attack angle is a little steeper, some of these other numbers would come into line. So you can kind of see what's going on. So the optimizer is a cool feature of the TrackMan software for really analyzing your golf swing. Screencast is if you were going to like put it on if you're going to share the screen with somebody else. So we don't really use that. The other thing you can do is create a report. So if I want to create a report and send that report to my TrackMan. So I've hit this practice session, and now I want to come in, I want to look at it at home. So if I click report like this, it'll ask me if I want to create a single report or a group report. And single report is just one shot. So whatever shot I have selected, so it's this one here. But a group report would be all the shots, and then it will ask me which ones I want to share. Do I want to include all the ones I hit with this Pro V1 ball, or all the ones I hit with this other ball? And if I select all like this, then what it'll do is it'll generate this report that has all of those in it like this. And so now I can come in and I can see these two different. So if you were to hit different clubs like 7-iron, 6-iron, 5-iron, you'd see those different ones. And now you'll see there's like a table with this here that I can look at, and I can click on each one of these shots, and then it will pick that shot. And then I can look at the trajectory, I can look at the optimizer data, and I can look at the club head data, and I can look at the video and change the angles of the video. And so now I have that report, I just need to share it. So I have to send it to myself. So I click share. It asks if I want to upload the video, and I would say yes, I do. And then you'll see it preloads it here with my email address. It's actually the email address of whoever's playing at the top, but you can add anybody else's email address in. I could take mine out and put somebody else's in. And then I can click, or I can add a second or a third or however many I want. And then I click send like this. And now it will upload that report and send it to me. So that's how you create a report. And then when you're done, you just click this close button like that. And now you're back to the shot analysis portion of the software. All right, the last thing you can do in shot analysis that's kind of fun is you can use this compare button. So the way you can use the compare button is you can click, if I click compare, I can actually compare two shots together, for example, like this and like this. So now you can see here's the data for those two shots. And if I click this padlock button like this, I can click play, and it'll actually sync those two shots together so that I can see what's going on with my golf swing, and I can compare them. So that's if I want to compare two of my shots together. I can also come in and I can compare my swing to a tour player. So I can come down here and pick a tour player. I need to pick one that's kind of more like me, like Mark Leishman, right? I can pick Mark Leishman. Now he just has a 7-iron, so I'll pick Mark Leishman's 7-iron, and we'll put it in here like this. And so now I have Mark Leishman's swing and my swing next to each other. So I can look at the data, right? Obviously he swings a lot faster than me. I can look at his club path data, and then if I do the same thing, click play, I can sync that together, and I can see that Mark Leishman's swing is a lot smoother than mine, right? But you can get an idea of comparing your swing with another swing. So you can either compare with one of your own swings, or you can compare it with other players. Like if you're there with your friend, you can put your friend's swing up there next to each other, and you can compare them. So that's the cool thing about the compare mode. All right, so that covers all this shot analysis practice session. Hopefully that helps, and hopefully it refreshes you from our session together. And then I've added in a few things that we don't usually cover in the session. So, all right, so now to get out of here, we just click home, and it exits us out back to the home screen. And now we're ready to either leave or go on to the next thing. And so we'll go on to the next thing, and we'll talk about virtual practice.